Hello, I'm Zagone with Northwest Winterfest. I invite you to learn more about the African American culture.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roberta J. Wilburn, and I am president and co-founder of Wilburn and Associates, LLC. And I'm also the Associate Dean of Graduate Studies and Diversity Initiative at Whitworth University. And I'm just so glad to be here today because I've been, I can't believe it, in Spokane now for 13 and a half years. And during my time in Spokane, I have been involved in so many different things, and as a part of it, one of the things that I've done is learn to embrace the African American community and really become involved in a lot of aspects. Some of the things that I've done is I've been president of the Spokane Ministers Fellowship, and I have been the first, which is really amazing, the first female president of the Spokane Ministers Fellowship. I have been involved in a number of different things where I have done with Wilburn and Associates diversity training in terms of working with the Volunteers of America, also Spokane Public Schools, a number of other organizations. And so I think that it's really important as members of the community to get involved. Another thing that we do that is really, really important is we hold courageous conversations within the community. And we think this is really important because sometimes there are conversations that people don't have. Because dealing with issues of race and diversity, a lot of times people don't want to talk about it. And we provide a safe space for us to do that. And I'm just really happy that I have my husband here, who is my partner, and he's able to support me. And we do this work together because he grew up in the South and I grew up in the North, and we've both been marginalized. And we've learned from our experiences, and together, we work together to help others to learn from our experiences.
And my name is James Wilburn. I grew up in the Jim Crow South. So when I met Doc, she came over to the city where I was mayor. I served as city council for 2 years and mayor for 12 years. And she came over and met me, and she said it seemed like she was stepping back in time, coming from Brooklyn to Sunset. And I've written a book about my growing up in the Jim Crow South, and so it's my journey through the Black Sacred Cosmos. And I've graduated from a historically black college, Lemoyne Owen College in Memphis, Tennessee. Moved here, and here is different because I didn't have the experience of being around so many European Americans coming from a segregated high school and historically black college, and then coming here and receiving my master's degree at Whitworth University is a totally different environment for me. So I learned a lot since I've been here these 14 years. And since then I've been Achievement Gap Intervention Specialist for Spokane Public Schools for about seven and a half years. And then I retired. I now serve on several boards. I'm with the Office of Police Ombudsman. I'm a commissioner there that provides oversight over police use of force. And I'm on the board of SIA, which is Spokane International Academy, a charter school. And I do several other Spark International, and I do a lot of drumming, and we do courageous conversations and other things in Spokane. So we keeping busy. As a matter of fact, it doesn't feel like I'm retired. But it feels good to be busy like I am. So I enjoy being in Spokane and doing the work that I do.
We're really excited to tell you about some of the things that we brought today. And these are some things that we as African Americans have during our Christmas holidays. And so one of the things that as African Americans that we like to have is, number one, we like to have things that represent who we are. And so one of the things that I love is having an angel that looks like me. And so this is an angel, and I have several of them, but this is one that looks like me, and I love this. And so I have several of them. So many people in their homes, they have African American angels that look like them. So that's one item. And then another thing is you will find that they also will have a father time, or a Santa Claus, a black Santa Claus. And so that's another thing, because we know that we have to have people, we want something for our children to be able to identify with, because so much of history and culture have left us out. And so as parents, we do things, whatever we can, to try to help our children to identify with their culture and heritage by bringing in artifacts that look more like us and are representative. And then Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is an African American holiday. Some people think that Kwanzaa is against religion and is different from Christmas and is anti-Christmas, but it is not a religious holiday and it is not against Christmas. They're two different things, and James is going to tell you all about it.
Kwanzaa began with Maulana Karanja from California, who during the 1968 riots decided to come up with a program to build pride in African Americans who had been let down. So if you remember, there was during the Olympics, Jim Carlos and Hines had the fist up, and everything. So it was during that time, and he came up with the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba, and that's what these candles represent. The first one is Umoja, and the other one is Kujishakalia. Umoja, unity; Kujishakalia, self-determination; Umoja, collective work and responsibilities. Ujamaa, the green, represents cooperative economics, and Nia, purpose, and Imani, faith. And then you got the one in the middle, the black one, is the last day of the 7 principles of Nguzo Saba, from the 26th through the 30th.
The first.
The first, I'm sorry. It represents, so it's not taking the place of Christmas, it's right after Christmas. So Kwanzaa is a day of celebration for African Americans. And on that 7th day, there's a feast, and that's why you have the food lined up in the front. It represents the feast, and they bring food and everything, and everybody eat. That's my favorite day. So the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba by Maulana Karanja is what Kwanzaa celebrates.
And African Americans have been in Spokane, they say, since about 1880. And so we have been here for a long time, and we have been contributing to the welfare and well-being of this community, and other things that are really important to African Americans during the holidays, particularly during the winter holidays, is food, as James said. And so one of the things that we like to do is to cook. And in terms of cooking, things that we like to cook is we tend to do collective cooking. And we cook, say for instance, the days before. We don't just wait till the day of. We do the day before, and we will get together as a group and we'll say, okay, what are you going to cook and what are you going to cook? And we will plan out the meals, and we'll we'll have sweet potatoes and lots of pies and macaroni and cheese and greens and
cornbread,
all of those wonderful things. And it's a feast. And then typically we have a meal at the matriarch's house if we have a big mama in our family.
Yeah.
And so that is how we very often celebrate. Another piece is that in Spokane, church is very, very important to the African American community. And we have two churches that are very, very significant. We have Calvary Baptist Church, which is the oldest African American church in the state of Washington, and we have Bethel AME, which is the second oldest church in the state of Washington. And we are very, very proud of those institutions because they do help hold us together. And so, another part that we do is we recognize that, as I like to associate with, James and I both like to associate with our African heritage. And because of that, we do a lot in terms of wearing our African attire, and we do African drumming. And so I'm going to share a poem, and he's going to do some African drumming because we want to let you know that we definitely connect with our African heritage. I am African, not because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. I am African, not because my skin is black, but because my mind is empowered by Africa. I am African, not because I live in Africa, but because my soul is at home in Africa. When Africa weeps for her children, my cheeks are stained with her tears. When Africa honors her elders, my head is bowed in respect, and my soul is filled with pride. When Africa mourns for her losses from the Middle Passage, genocide, and disease, my hands are joined in prayer, and my heart is filled with sorrow. When Africa celebrates her achievements, my feet are alive with dancing, and my whole being rejoices. I am Africa for her majestic mountains, and her beautiful seashores are etched in my mind. And I see the artistic handiwork of my heavenly Father throughout the land. I am African, for I am one with her people, because they embrace me as their own. And I know that my future is built on the rich legacy of Africa's past. I am African, for her flowing rivers quench my spirit and brings me closer to the sources of life. I am African, because when the music of Africa's tribal drum beats fill the air, my whole being is in tune with the rhythm of the universe. My feet walks in its pathways, and I becomes the footprints of history. I am African, because Africa is the cradle of civilization, and it's from her shores that I draw strength and wisdom. I am African, because she has given me a lineage of great kings and queens. I am African because I am proud of my heritage and African ancestry. I am African, not because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. And this is a poem that I've adapted by Wayne Visser. Thank you. If you would like to find out more information about African American culture and diversity, equity, inclusion, please check us out at our website, wilburnassociates.org, or you can also check us out at Instagram or at our Facebook. And we also have a private Facebook group, and we have on Saturdays, I have a Cup of Culture where I do Facebook Lives. And so we really would love to hear more from you. So check us out.
Check us out.